I love it when my brilliant ideas work out. So the question for today is, am I going to look like a genius or am I going to look like an idiot? Hey everybody, welcome back to Begin Again. If you've been tracking with us, you know that we've done two parts so far about how do you find the perfect seating position for your go-kart. In the first part, we talked about how does a kart actually turn. It doesn't have a differential, and so you actually kind of have to trick the kart to lift the inside rear tire to be able to go around the corner. And we talked about how the suspension geometry of the front end accomplishes that for us. In the second part, we also said, hey look, if you have too much weight on the rear tires, you're not going to be able to lift that inside rear tire. Kind of makes sense. And so we decided that what we would do is go in and install the fast adjuster seat system so that we can move the seat forward and backwards much more easily than we could if we didn't have them. With the idea being, in my theory, is that I've got too much weight on the inside rear tire. Because if you ever watch any of my video, you can see I never lift the inside of my rear tire. And yet, if you go to a big race like Rock Vegas, man, these guys are lifting their inside rear tire on all the corners. And so it really hammered home the fact that I think I'm onto something. So for today, what we're going to do is we're going to go out and we're going to drive a few laps with the kart in its original seating position. And then we're going to come in, we're going to move the seat forward, and we're going to go back out. And my trusty and intrepid cameraman, Paul, is going to try to gather some footage of that inside rear tire as I go through the corners. And let's see if we can get some inside lift. Now, I'm very, very rusty. We'll talk about that, why I'm rusty. We'll talk about that later. But for right now, I don't know that lap times are going to have all that much meaning. But what I can give you is impressions about what it feels like when we drive this kart with the seat further forward, further back, whatever the case may be. So stay tuned. Got a lot going on. We're going to get a little bit techie on you. Let's see what we get. Okay, so we've gotten a couple sessions in. Now what we want to do is, number one, validate that the seating position hasn't changed. I doubt that it has, but let's just do it just to be safe. And then what we're going to do is we're going to move the seat forward. And then we're going to go back out on track and say, okay, does this make a difference in the way the kart drives? I'm thinking it's going to. We've got quite a bit of push today. The track is low grip, and certainly with these old tires, that doesn't help matters either, okay? So anyway, always measure from the middle of the kingpin all the way back to the center of the seat. And right now we're at 107 centimeters, just as I expected, okay? Now, the book says it should be about 104 to 105 centimeters. So we're gonna shoot for 105. That's a pretty big change. 2 centimeters is about an inch. And so that's quite a bit of weight that's being transferred to the front tires. So let's see what happens. Hopefully I got this thing set up right and we can make the change pretty quickly. First thing we've got to do is we've got to take the seat struts off because they obviously are holding the seat in place as well. So we want to go ahead and remove those. And obviously we've got 2 seat struts per side. So we want to get those not just loose, but completely disconnected from the seat. And there goes my second. Okay, so we're good to go there. Now, next thing that we need to do is we want to go ahead and loosen up the fast adjusters underneath the cart. So that's going to be our next step. All right, now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take out the main bolts for the seat struts. Okay, now in theory, this thing of beauty should slide forward, which it does. Look at that. All right, so now what we need to do is go here, and then we're going to go to this seat adjuster over here, lift it up like that. All right.
So which one did you move from to?
So we went from the middle hole to the fifth hole out. Which should move us forward. Now, here's the thing though. Let's take the tape before we go and tighten anything up. Let's take the tape and see what change we made. So we go middle of the kingpin all the way to the back, and we are at 105, just as I expected. So this is a really good thing. So now it's just a matter of let's go in and start snugging everything up and make this work, and we'll go out and try the cart, see what happens. All right, so here's my opportunity to prove whether I'm a genius or an idiot. We're getting ready to go ahead and go back out. We've got a seat that's now been moved forward, so we should have more bite at the front, and we should have an inside tire that's at least lighter into the corner. Hopefully we can actually see it lift off the pavement. Let's see what happens. I'm super excited to try this out. You know, like I said, lap times probably don't matter as much as just general driving impressions. So let's go give it a try, and full report to follow. All right, so obviously we're making the ride back home, and I must say this has probably been one of the most successful test days that I've had at a racetrack in many, many years. You know, one of the things that really has been, I think, a little bit of a tip for me was the fact that we made a lot of changes to the chassis over the last couple of years, where we added caster, or we took caster out, or we, you know, put different sized rear hubs on the cart, whatever it may be. And at the end of the day, while they may make the cart feel better, for the most part, when I make a change, it really didn't make that much difference. About the only change that I can say that I made where I really could feel the difference was the addition of those wider rear hubs. Other than that, pretty much go and change anything and it just didn't make any difference. It was said to me that we had a fundamental chassis problem of some sort. And while I don't know at this time whether we actually lifted the inside rear tire going into turn 3, which would be a really good indicator that we had made a big step forward. What I can tell you is, like I was saying when I first got out of the Kart, the thing just turns in so much better even on cold tires than what it did prior to that. And so I am really, really encouraged by what I felt. The other thing that was interesting is that I've always known that from my experience with cars that actually have suspensions, formula cars, that if you have understeer going into a corner, guess what? You're probably going to be having to wind in more steering to get to the apex. And when you do that, you eventually pinch the car and the car goes into oversteer, making it feel like you don't have any rear end grip, when the reality is you got to fix the front end to make the rear end behave. And I think we've done that today. The turn in was way better, and I actually had good grip coming out of the corners. So I think for sure now it's a case of I got something to work with. Now I've just got to improve my driving, and that's just going to come with seat time, because there's no question I'm rusty. Now, having said all that, I do need to make a few changes. Like now the steering wheel is too close to me, and so I need to push it away from me just a little bit. Although I must say it was pretty nice to be able to get up on the wheel, so to speak, and muscle the cart a little bit more. So that's nice, but we're going to try a change in the steering wheel angle. I thought maybe I'd be really uncomfortable with my legs, but because of moving closer and having my legs further up in the air, not really. I mean, it seemed pretty normal to me. So I think overall, I think now we're getting close to getting a good package together, and it may be worth trying moving the seat forward one more notch and seeing if that helps as well. So really encouraged, really excited. I'm so glad that I did this. It's kind of like I wish I'd have done this a lot sooner. And hey, let's see how I develop now as a driver. So with all that said, the fast adjusters absolutely helped make that seat change a very quick seat change. I think we did it even with drilling new holes and stuff like that. I think we got it done in less than 30 minutes. That's pretty impressive. So very happy about that. So thanks for joining us. If you like this video, please hit the like button. I hope that this was really helpful to you. It's certainly, like I said, hopefully you can see I'm super encouraged. And of course, if you haven't subscribed to Begin Again, please do. It really helps us out. And I think our next video is we're going to be messing around with ways to maybe eke a few more horsepower out of the Rock engine. I'm not going to say anything more right now, but we're going to go and try a couple things, and we'll have a new video for you soon. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you soon. So, one thing's for sure, it's been, call it 4 months since I last drove this Kart, because of the issues I've been having with my knee and all that, and we'll talk about that later. But here's the thing, guys. Yeah, my lap times are terrible. The track is slow today. The tires took forever to heat up and all that. But let me tell you something. Driving a shifter cart is an absolute blast. It is such a thrill to go and drive something with that kind of a performance envelope. Yeah, okay, I was slow and all that kind of stuff, but right now, I'm just happy to be on track getting to drive this thing. It's amazing. And if you ever get a chance to go drive one, absolutely go do it, because it is an absolute blast.